Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, June 28th. There's about 500 albums coming out this week. I got 12 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Well, like I said in the intro, there's about 500 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 12 on the show, though, today. So if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. And like always, if you're unable to find any of these in your local brick and mortar stores, I'll put links down below in the comment section. They should all be available online. So one of the bigger releases for this week is an album that I've got some questions about. So this is Beyonce, Cowboy Carter. So this was released back in March. It's her 8th studio album. It's going to run you about $55 online. I know there were several releases of this already released on vinyl. They're all listed as limited. They all have alternate artwork. This is listed as the official release. This comes with a 40-page booklet. It's got a poster with it. It's going to run you $55. The other version that's available on Amazon, the older version, it's $35. So I don't know why there's such a big price difference between this release and the other release. Like I said, all I'm seeing is just the booklet and the poster and the official artwork that's listed on here. You know, I'm kind of on the fence about this release. I think there's some good stuff on here. I think there's also a lot of skippable stuff on here. Also, I've never been the biggest Beyonce fan. I might grab a copy of this. If I do, it's definitely going to be the $35 version that's already available out there. So you got that coming out this week, and then you got Yes, Fragile. Released in 1971, it was their 4th studio album. This is a super deluxe box set. It's going to run you about $100 online. It's a 1 LP, 4 CD, 1 Blu-ray box set, all newly remastered by Steven Wilson. So what you're getting in here is the newly remastered album on vinyl and on CD. And then you got 3 additional CDs in the set that have, so you got demos on here, you got alternate mixes, there's some instrumental versions on here, there's some live tracks. If you're a Yes fan, to be a cool one to check out. This is all housed in a deluxe gatefold jacket. The Blu-ray also contains the Dolby Atmos mix, and the 5.1 mixes also. There's a lot of new albums coming out this week. I think all the next 5 albums are all new releases. The next one is Imagine Dragons' LOOM. It's their 6th studio album. It's going to run you about $33 online. There's a bunch of different variants available of this one. I know there's a Coke Bottle Clear version, which is the Amazon exclusive. There's a translucent light blue version with alternate artwork that's going to be indie exclusive. Go on their website. There's a couple other ones also listed on there. So to be honest, I haven't been a big fan of their last couple of albums. I like the first 2 albums. But really, you know, Imagine Dragons, they've always been that kind of pop rock band. But the last couple of albums, I feel like have been, how do I put this in a nice way? I guess kind of bland. There really isn't anything that's really kind of stood out to me on the last couple of albums. They have released, I think, 2 singles off the new album. I've only listened to one of them. You know, it was a pretty good single. I like it better than anything I've heard off the last couple of albums. So I'll definitely stream that one and check that out this week. You also got the new album from Camila, Cabello coming out. This is XOXO. It's her 4th studio album. There's a black version of this. There's a pink version. There's also a sky blue version. It's going to run you about $33 online. So if you're unfamiliar with her, she was a member of Fifth Harmony, one of the biggest female pop groups of the 2000s. So she has, what she does is pop music. But it's also got this really interesting like R&B and some really strong Latin influences in her music also. The only album I've ever listened to hers is just her debut from 2018. It was a good album. I'll definitely stream this one and check it out this week also. The next one is one that I've been waiting to get released ever since it was first announced. And of course, like everything else nowadays, there's multiple versions of this that are going to be released. This is Johnny Cash, Songwriter. It's going to run you about $30 online. It's all previously unreleased material. But there's a black version of this. There's a silver version, which is the Amazon exclusive. And then there's a clear with black splatter, which is going to be indie exclusive. So like I said, you got multiple different versions of this going to be available. So what this album is, this is kind of cool. So this is all demos that Johnny recorded in 1993. just before he met with Rick Rubin and signed on with him and started working on the American Recordings album. So I think this is all stuff that he had been kind of pulling together from the 60s and 70s on, stuff that spread out over his career. So he's taken songs that he never used before and was starting to work on something that was going to be his next album. A lot of Johnny stuff, especially from the later part of the 80s, I think is really hit or miss. But I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. So what this is this is not just a standard recording that he had been working on in 93. What they did was they took his vocals, they took his guitar, and they stripped out everything else. And then they brought in some musicians, some guys that had been working with Johnny before, and they recorded all new music to go along with these tracks. So I'm going to hold off on buying a copy of it this week, but I'll definitely stream it and check it out. I'll probably end up grabbing a copy of it eventually, though. So you got that coming out, and then got the new album from Jxdn, When the Music Stops. This is his second studio album. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's going to run you about $24 online. This is the follow-up to his 2021 debut, Tell Me About Tomorrow was the name of it. So if you're unfamiliar with him, he does this. So he got his big break on TikTok back in like 2019. He was the first musician that Travis Barker signed on to DTA Records. I actually liked his first album. I know that a lot of people were really kind of mixed on it. There's some really good stuff on there. I'm hoping to see some kind of progression on this new album. But what he does, it's rock music, but it's got really strong pop punk influence on there. There's some R&B, some emo rap influence on there also. So really cool stuff. I've only listened to two tracks off of the new album, and it's another one I'll add to my list to stream and check out this week. The next album is one I actually covered a couple of weeks ago in my summer new release video. This is the new album from Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, South of Here. It's their fourth studio album. It's going to run you about $24 online. Really cool rock band. I like the stuff that they've done over the first couple of albums. You got this really strong like soul and blues influence on their music. I love the first two albums. This is the follow-up to The Future, which came out in 2021, which wasn't a big fan of. There are a couple of good tracks on there, but I felt like it was a letdown one compared to their first two albums. There's a couple of tracks I've heard off this new one. I like the direction this new album is going, so it's another one I'll add to my list to be streamed this week. Then you also got Silverstein and Shipwreck and the Saying getting reissued this week. This came out back in 2009. It was their fourth studio album. It's the 15th anniversary release. It's going to run you about $24 online. Really interesting concept album. It's kind of cool. The whole story, the overarching story of this album is, a ship and its crew is being sent out. They're looking for land. I don't think they ever find anything, but they end up turning on the ship's captain. Like I said, it's kind of cool to go back through the story. I haven't listened to this album in probably 10 years. Off the top of my head, I really only remember a couple of tracks off of this one. It sold really well. It hit number 33 on the Billboard 200. It got great reviews when this album came out. I'll stream it and check it out this week. Next album is a recent release that's getting a wider release this week. This is P.O.D. Veritas. Came out back in May. It's their 11th studio album. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's going to run you about $24 online. I know there's a clear version of this that came out a few weeks ago, but it looks like that was a limited release, and this is going to be the wider release of the album coming out this week. This is the follow-up to Circles, which I think was 2018 when that came out, which was met with a lot of really mixed reviews. And this album so far has gotten a lot better reviews, not only than Circles, but it's gotten better reviews than the last several P.O.D. albums. To be completely honest, I don't think I've listened to a full P.O.D. album since Sadly, which I think was 2001 when that album came out. But so I definitely need to go back through and check out this album and really kind of check out all the other albums that they've done since then. So you got that coming out this week, and then you got Living Color, Time's Up coming out. This was released back in 1990. It was their second studio album. This is music on vinyl release. It's going to be a little more expensive. It's going to run you about $39 online. It's going to be on black vinyl. So here's the thing with music on vinyl releases. What they typically do is they'll do like a limited release on colored vinyl, and then they do like a wider release on black vinyl. So this was released by Music on Vinyl back in 2012. It was released on yellow vinyl and black vinyl back then, but it was released as a 1LP release. This is a reissue of that 1LP black version from 2012. What my issue is with this is the next album I'm going to talk about is another Music on Vinyl release. It's going to be about the same price, which is on 2 LPs. There's a 2 LP version of this that was released back in 2018. It's still available on vinyl. I mean, you can go on Discogs and pick up a copy. I know it's a little bit more expensive than what you're getting here, but you can pick up a copy of this 2 LP release for $70. My issue with this is if Music on Vinyl is going to charge the same price as they are for a 2 LP release from them. Why not just do a 2 LP release for this album? You know, yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool album. It's of course the follow up to Vivid. It's a different album than Vivid also, but you know, I love some of the stuff that's on here. Their first couple of albums are just absolutely fantastic. So definitely check that one out this week. And then the other music on a vinyl release that's getting a reissue this week is Silverchair, Frogstomp, released back in 1995. It was their debut studio album. It's going to run about $40 online. This is going to be on black vinyl. It's a 2 LP release. It's got D-side etching. So this is a reissue of the music on vinyl release from 2019, which is also on black vinyl. I've got the limited edition colored version of it. It sounds fantastic. This is a great sounding album, and one that every time I go back through it, I'm always amazed by. Just because, you know, yes, you know, Silverchair did some other good stuff, some other good albums later in their career. They were never really able to recapture the magic, I think, that they had on this first album, and they were just 3 15-year-old kids when they recorded it. Sold really well. I think they sold over 2 million copies of this album. Hit number 9 on the Billboard 200 here in the U.S. I love this album. It's one of my favorite 90s rock albums. And then the last one on the list is Dokken One Live Night, released back in 1996. It was recorded live in December 94. It was a small venue. I think it's called The Strand in Redondo Beach, California. It's going to run you about $45 online. This is a really cool release. I'm not the biggest Dokken fan, but I've liked this album ever since it was first released. Around the time that they recorded this, they weren't getting any kind of interest from MTV, and really no, you know, hair metal bands from the 80s really were. Music had really changed by 1996. So what the band decided to do was put together their own unplugged performance. They released the album of it. They released it on VHS. I think it did get eventually released on DVD also. Like I said, really cool. I love some of this isn't a fully acoustic set. It's a semi-acoustic set, but I love some of the tracks that they do on this. They've got some great covers on here also. So it's another great one that's coming out this week. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. Some really cool stuff. There's 1 or 2 that I'll probably grab, and then there's another handful of stuff that I'll stream and check out and decide whether or not I want to grab it once I get to the record store. But let me know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.